Welcome to Articulatable's very first podcast, where your voice matters. I'm Erin Coley. I am the founder and communication challenge enthusiast. Here, we are going to explore the fascinating world of communication. We're going to bring in experts with practical tips, inspiring stories, and help you to express yourself with clarity and confidence. So, whether you're looking to improve your public speaking or enhance your daily interactions, or maybe even compete in our exciting communication challenges, this podcast is your gateway to becoming a more effective communicator. If you really want to improve your communication skills, make sure to check out articulatable.com. It is a brand new membership platform with weekly challenges and trainings and monthly competitions with prizes. So the goal is to push you out of your comfort zone and into creating content while building your confidence in your ability to do so. So welcome. So glad you're here. Today, I'm so excited. We have two very special guests. The first is going to be our May Articulatable competition winner. And you're going to love her. She's awesome. And then one of my very best friends in the whole wide world, who is also a renowned voice and presentation coach, Elisa James. So I'm so excited for you to meet them. They are awesome. So no matter where you are in your journey, the Articulatable podcast is here to challenge and support you in mastering your art of expression. So let's get started. We're going to do a little special segment every month when we come on here. We're going to bring in the winner of the previous month's competition. So on articulatable.com, we have competitions every month. And last month, we had our very first competition, and it was awesome. So I'd like to introduce to you our very next guest, who is from Fox Lake, Illinois. And although she's been telling people she's from Chicago for years, she'd like you to know that Chicago pizza is not deep dish. It is a thin crust with fresh Wisconsin cheese and with the best pizza sauce and sausage she has ever tasted. It is cut into squares, making it quite convenient to hold. She eats all the crusty corners first. I don't think I could do that. No, I don't think I could do that. Even the corners, because even the corners have fresh sauce and cheese. No spot is uncovered. Okay, maybe I could. Maybe I could. If you want to know more, you can ask someone else because she is done talking about Chicago pizza. Just know that Chicago pizza is not deep dish. So here comes Juli-Ann Kintzler. Come on in, Julie. Hi, Julie. Welcome, welcome.
Hello.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Hello.
Yeah,
How are you?
I'm so excited that you're here. So last month's
Thank you.
topic,
I'm excited.
I'm so glad you are. So last month's topic was Mindset May. And I wanted you to tell a story showcasing a time you completely changed the way you thought about something. And you did an awesome job with your presentation. You actually talked about a lot of different things that you had changed, and your enthusiasm was just contagious. And I am a firm believer that enthusiasm is the secret to success. And you were just so enthusiastic and passionate. And you're just so much fun to talk to and to listen to and to watch. So tell us just a little
Uh,
bit about you. Just tell me about you. I know that you've got a couple kids who I happen to know personally since they were very young. Tell me a little
yes,
bit about you and you've got a new business venture that you're working on. Tell us a little bit about that.
that's right. I have started Jewels of Florida, which I
I love
started
the name.
because I was. Thank you. It's been on my mind since for a long time, and I didn't know what Jewels of Florida was going to be. It was going to be a patio company, but then I figured I need to start making some money, and I'm a realtor, so I looked at the real estate industry, and I saw a bunch of homes that just weren't prepared properly before they went on the market. And of course, they didn't sell. So, what I went ahead and did is I started a staging company. And a staging company is not setting it up to make it look great. A staging company is getting rid of everything, showing just the bare bones of a home. You know, you have to take everything off the wall, you have to repair it, and,
Right.
you have to get rid of all the junk and too much furniture and stuff like that. And when you do that, you make a lot of money. So if you put 5, 10,000 in, you'll get 20 to 50,000 out, and that's no lie. So I didn't feel right just, taking a listing and not fixing the home up first. So
Yeah.
what I've done is I've offered to do $5,000 of work. They don't have to pay for it until closing. I'm not going to pay for it, but I will pay for it up front to get the job done. So if they don't have the money, all they have to do is sign up with me and I'll do the work. And when we close, we'll settle up. So that's
That
what
is
we're doing there.
brilliant, especially because
Yes.
it is
Thank you.
increasing the value so much or increasing the sales price. It makes sense. It's a no-brainer. That is
It really is.
awesome.
Yes.
I
So
love it.
that's what I'm working on right
I
now.
love it. I love it. So, one of the things that's really impressed me is your motivation. And I know a lot of people struggle with motivation. They struggle with just pushing themselves out of their comfort zone to do something that is new to them or that is uncomfortable for them. What is it that motivates you to push yourself to succeed?
Well, because I'm older and I've been going through all this stuff, I have a tremendous amount of self confidence that I didn't have when I was younger. I kind of thought I did, but I didn't. And now I just have all this self confidence. And I looked in my life and I said, wow, you really accomplished a lot. I've got a roofing license. I've got a realtor's license. I've got a community
Wow.
association manager's license. I have a driver's license. But,
That's good.
so
That's good.
yeah. And, if we're counting licenses, so we throw
Right.
that in there. But so and I've been working in the industry all my life, construction and whatnot. So staging kind of went along with that. And I'm just really excited. And I do have a lot of excitement, like you said, and I have a great desire to make this work. And once this works, I'm going to go on to something else and something else and something else until I've got a big old fortune to leave my children.
I love
So,
it. I love it. That is
yeah,
awesome. That is awesome. Please tell your kids I said hi. I don't know if they
I
remember
will
me. It
do
was
that.
so,
Oh, of course, I talk
so
about you
long
all the
ago.
time.
It was
Well, we
so
follow
long
you
ago.
on Facebook, so I've
Oh,
been living vicariously through you for the last 4 years. So,
yes, yes, it has been amazing. And my
yeah.
husband keeps saying he wants to go back on the road. So those of you who don't know, I was actually traveling in
Oh,
an RV for 3 years. No home, just traveling in an RV with my husband and two of my four kids. And it was amazing. I actually met, not in
some
an RV,
beautiful
but
pictures.
oh,
Wow.
it was amazing.
I
But
just love the pictures. It was
uh, I
awesome.
was just looking through some of them when I was putting up my husband's birthday thing, and I was looking through some of the pictures of just the things that we did and the pictures that I took, and I was just like, oh my gosh, like this is just it blows my mind. When you're in it, it doesn't feel as amazing, and when you look back on it and you reflect on it, you go, oh wow, wow,
Exactly.
like we did some cool
Exactly.
stuff. So he's
Yes,
dying to
you
get back on
really
the road
did.
now. I thought it would
And
be
you
me that
forgot,
was
you
dying.
brought your dog as well.
Oh, well, my dog is the best part that I brought, actually. It was the one I got along with the best, and
There you go.
my Juniper, my Juniperfect. She has
Very
her own
cute.
Instagram, Juniperfect. Well, thank
Oh,
you
there you
so
go.
much, Julie. So if you're in South Florida, so if people in
Yes.
South Florida
Palm
want to get in
Beach
touch with
County.
you, if they want to get in touch with you, they can go to julesofflorida.net. Is that correct?
Yes, .net, not .com, and
Excellent.
561-319-0667. And just
Excellent.
go on the site, and there's plenty of information there for you. Thank you for
Fantastic.
having me. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you so much. And
Sorry,
you're
I seized up there for a little bit, but this is wonderful for you
No,
having me.
I'm so glad that you're here. Thanks for being here. And I will see you soon. You're welcome to stay and hang out with us. And I'm going to jump over and talk about my other fabulous guest today, and talk about her a little bit because she is a lot of fun. And I think you guys will really enjoy getting to know her. If you don't already know Elisa James, which you should because she's like world renowned here, Elisa James is not only one of my favorite people in the entire world, but she is also a professional public speaking and presentation coach with a passion for business communication and performance. And she has done some of the coolest things, guys. We could talk just about her history for hours, but just really quickly, her work focus is mostly on helping corporate leaders and small business owners now to learn how to speak and present with confidence and conviction so they can achieve more visibility and credibility in business. So she believes in a holistic approach to business communication, mind, body, and voice. She applies all of this to her corporate workshops, her coaching services, and her online training programs. And I have to just back this up a little bit. Elisa was one of my very first teachers at a theater that I had back in Florida some 20 something years ago. It was a long time ago. And 15, 20 years ago, it was a while ago. And she is just the most professional, brilliant, amazing teacher. She just, the way that she works with every student just really blows my mind. And she's just, one of my idols and one of my favorite people. So I'm so excited she's here.
Mm.
Hello, Elisa. Welcome,
Hey,
welcome.
thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here on your very first podcast. Thank you so much for inviting me.
I couldn't think of anybody else I wanted to be on my very first podcast. When I was
Oh,
thinking of my guest speaker, I could not think of anybody else. Like, it has to be Elisa. So glad you're here. And you're joining us from Australia. Yes?
I am Sydney, Australia, one of the best cities in the world, I must say. Very
I
lucky
can't
to
wait.
live
It's on
here.
my list. It's on my very short list of next places to go visit. So I will be
Good,
coming
good,
soon.
good.
Yeah.
Yay.
So, Elisa, I'm sorry, but that bio just didn't even touch the surface of who you are. It just, yes, it's what you do, but I just, you're a performer and you're a singer and I've seen you sing, I've seen you perform, I've seen you you coach people all over the world in your training programs, and you have a YouTube channel too, which I will
Yeah,
give at the end. I'm actually going to tell everybody how to get in contact with you that way, because your YouTube channel is just
great.
amazing. It is amazing. So,
Oh, thank you.
so you know, when I think of communication, I think of you and the
Mm,
way that you communicate and talk to people, the way that you are able to express yourself and also to guide other people in their expression. And I just started reading a book, and I don't have the hard copy because I'm not really reading it, I'm listening to it. But it is
yeah.
called Super Communicators, and it's by Charles Duhigg. And he is probably one of my very, very favorite authors of all time. He is he wrote two other books that I read first, which were Power of Habit and Smarter, Faster, Better. Smarter, Faster, Better is probably one of my all-time favorite books, but he just released this new book called Super Communicators. And I've been listening to it, and some of the stuff on there it's just amazing. It is just amazing. I absolutely love the stuff that he
Wow.
presents in there. And a couple of the things he's talking about is the issues with communication right now and how to become a better communicator. And he talked about like matching emotions, which I thought was
Mm-hmm.
fascinating, that you don't
Yeah.
realize that you do subconsciously. You match
Mm-hmm.
volume, you match emotions, you match energy. And that's how you tell people that you want to keep communicating with them. And I thought that was really
Yeah.
interesting. And then this whole chapter that I just listened to was on laughter. And he used an example of NASA and how people that when they're trying to find people to go up into space, these astronauts that are going to go up into space for months on end and be in a room with a certain group of people nonstop for months on end, not being able to
Yeah.
leave the room, sleeping there, working there, eating there,
Yeah.
everything. And he talked about how the people at NASA had to change the way that they chose the astronauts because they had so many issues with people not being able to handle it. And
Yeah.
they they were looking at a study on laughter, and they found that laughter is actually used more socially than it is in response to something funny. We laugh
Mm.
to let people know that we like them and that we want to communicate with them. And I
Mm.
was just like, this is fascinating. It was so cool. And so he changed, or this person, I guess, who was doing the study, changed the way that they were interviewing NASA astronauts and started to judge them based on their emotional or their communication intelligence and their emotional intelligence. And
Wow. Good.
I just thought it was so fascinating. So I wanted to mention that. So, I know you work with so many people who struggle with communication across the board. You work with people who are just learning English, and then you work with huge high-level
High level.
CEOs, you
Oh
know,
yeah.
and so what is something that you're seeing as the biggest problem in communication that needs to be overcome today, across the board, from these, people who are just learning English to these, corporate geniuses? What,
Yeah.
tell me a little bit.
Look, it's quite complex. People don't realize how deep dive voice and communication skills are. They have no idea. So when they hire me as an ostensibly a voice coach, quote unquote, or a public speaking coach, they don't realize that there's a whole lot of unpacking that's going to happen, whether you like it or not. It's so much more deep dive than just hiring what you think I am, because we're looking at human psyche. We're looking at belief systems. We're looking at trauma that may or may not be visible or even known within the body. We're looking at breath work. We're looking at the sound of the voice. We're looking at voice patterns. So there's lots of places that we can
Right.
begin. But the biggest things that I see is mostly the discrepancy between the signals that we need to give to somebody else for that human to understand or not understand. Let me explain, because it won't make any
Hmm.
sense like that yet. There are signals that we need to use, or I say signals or signs. I use them as signs. So there's a
Hmm.
sign that we need to use when we're communicating to tell the other person that we're interested, or we
Hmm.
need to do something to have that conversation continue. So a really, really simple example of that would be asking a question the right way. It sounds like a really simple thing, but the simplest things sometimes can be very complex when you're
Right.
doing it wrong. So if somebody asks you a question and they're genuinely wanting to have a communication with you, they genuinely want to know the answer. We as human beings have little invisible or unknown, unspoken, unconscious signals that's
Hmm.
what's right and what's wrong. So if I asked you a question, Erin, and I didn't do it in the right way, you may not know whether you need to answer or not, and you may not know how to respond. It will leave
Right.
you, my audience, feeling very confused. That's a simple signal. And if we do that over and over and over again in our spoken communication, the audience is going to be left with either two things: confused and trying to catch up the whole time, or
Hmm.
completely switch off and start looking at their phone. It
So
switches
what's the
people
trick?
off.
What's the key? What is it? What is the
there,
magic ingredient? What is it that needs
okay,
to happen?
there are so many, but I would
Hmm.
say the most important thing for all of us as communicators is to minimize distractions. Now, of course, when we're performing, there's going to be distractions out there. There's going to be
Right.
distractions with mic
Right.
and camera. I'm not talking about those types of distractions. That's a whole other conversation. But the distractions I'm talking about are our mental and emotional and physical distractions as a speaker. Because when we embody
Hmm.
the entire instrument, the mind, the body, and the voice, then we can speak from our whole instrument. But most people don't do that. They'll go into their head and they'll get stuck with their little reticular activating system up here. Where's the file? Where's the file? What do I say? Oh, I'm out of words. We get lost, right? Because we go
Right.
into our head. So that means you're disassociated and you're not staying in your body. So that's a mental distraction. You're distracted because of mental issues or psychological issues or a belief system or doubting yourself. That's a distraction that happens up here in the
Right.
neocortex. But then there's other distractions, like how are you using the breath? Are you chopping up all your
Hmm.
phrases too much and you're adding too much breath? Or are you taking one of these people that take a really big breath and then go, and then they run out of air and then they have to
Right.
gasp again to, that's distracting too. Or there
It's
might
so
be a voice
distracting.
quality. It's a voice quality that could be
Exactly.
distracting. If somebody who speaks like this, like all the time, is going to drive me crazy. It's going to drive everyone crazy. Yeah. If you have
Right.
different voice qualities, that's a distraction. So you see what I
Uh-huh.
mean? And also one of these things is the body language distraction. I had a student that when I was teaching him presentation skills, he stood up there and he went like this. And it's like, what are we chopping? And why are we chopping?
Onions. No. We've
It
moved on
didn't
to the
make
potatoes. I
it
just made
didn't
a
make
pot
any
roast
sense.
today, so
Yeah, exactly. It didn't make any sense whatsoever. So if we
right.
don't use the hands to strengthen the message, it's going to weaken the message.
Hmm.
So when we're looking for those three types of distractions, they're probably a list of things in each of
Yep.
those three, but we look for those distractions by listening to ourselves back on audio, watching
Hmm.
ourselves back on video,
Hmm.
regardless of whether it's virtual or whether it's live. We must have that feedback because we need to know what the audience sees, feels, and hears. And when we get that really deeply, then we can start to make changes.
That is amazing. And that is so, so true. When you said distractions, I totally thought you were going the route of devices and picking up your cell phone and texts and whatever. And you went a totally different way than from there. And it was
Yeah.
really interesting because I remembered a workshop that I sat in with that you were teaching a group of kids. It was a vocal workshop, and you did this exercise that still sticks with me. I mean, this is like 15 years ago. No, maybe 10
Yeah.
years ago, and it was about the airplane exercise.
Okay, tell me. I can't remember that one.
It was something I remember that you took us through this whole experience of as if the plane was going down.
I'm glad I didn't
And
do that one again.
no, it was awesome. It was awesome. And I remember that it was about staying connected and that's what made me think of it is you were talking about staying connected to your body and staying connected to your breath and paying attention to these things that would happen to you if you were in this traumatic experience. You're having this traumatic
Oh,
experience.
I know what I was doing. Right.
And it
Got it.
was the voice and the tightness in the voice and what
Yeah.
happens to you when things like that happen. It was so cool. I just remember that. So like I just remember where I was standing in the room. I remember where people were sitting. It's like little details and it's something's
Yeah.
impactful when you can remember it that clearly.
Oh, absolutely. Because in the hippocampus, when we store memories, a memory is usually stored really strongly when there's an emotion attached to it that's very, very strong. So
Exactly.
that emotion for you might have been really excitement or some click
Hmm.
in your brain. So you've remembered that.
Exactly.
I've forgotten that entire exercise because I thought you were going to mention a different exercise, which was just as powerful, but very different. That
Okay.
exercise calls up inside our body. That's exactly a distraction exercise. It calls up inside our body what fight and flight can do and how it can throw us off our track. And
Right.
it does it consistently. It does it to everybody. Even if we get a little bit excited, because excitement
Hmm.
and fear is pretty much playing out in the same way inside the
Yep.
body. We've got to be able to calm the body and self-regulate to be able
Hmm.
to become a good speaker. All of us have to do that. If
Hmm.
we're overexcited or if we're over nervous, then the neocortex cannot organize thoughts clearly. We lack verbal fluency. If
Hmm.
we stop breathing, we lack verbal fluency.
Right.
If we get nervous, we lack verbal fluency, and that continues the ideas.
I remember you so your master's degree, or you've got two, don't you? But
Yeah,
I remember your master's degree, one of them is in the way that the voice works.
yeah,
And I remember you talking about the vocal folds and the things that they do when you get nervous, and how when we go to speak on camera or in front of a large group, or even just in an interview setting, somewhere that the outcome matters, that those vocal folds will react differently, that your body reacts differently. And,
yeah,
I know that you have so many exercises and things that you do personally
yeah.
to prepare for something. I know you don't get as nervous as you used to because you do it all the time, but what are some things that our listeners can do to become more comfortable or to warm up our voices? What are some things that you suggest?
Yeah. Well, the first thing is, have we got our minds ready for the task? Is what everybody has to do first. If we go into the task thinking, oh my God, I'm going to be so nervous, or oh my God, the stakes are high, everyone's going to be looking at
Mhm.
me, blah, blah, blah. We've already framed it the wrong way. And it doesn't matter what you do after that. You're setting
Mhm.
yourself up for failure if you're already going in from that perspective. So I would say first is go in and prepare with the audience in mind. Don't think about you. Don't think about how important this is to you. Think about how you can serve the audience and how you can help one person in the audience today, because it's never about you. It's always about them. How can I help another person? How can I leave a legacy behind? How can I inspire someone to change today? That's our job as speakers, as influencers in this world. That's our job. It's got nothing to do with us. So when we understand that and we have that
So true.
intention to serve, then you won't get so nervous in the first place, because you're going in there with the right intention. So that's the first
Absolutely.
thing. But the second thing is that because a lot of people don't have voice skills, they don't have any idea about what their vocal instrument does, and they think it's just stuck here. They literally think that the voice is here. They've got to start from breathing correctly and powering the voice correctly so we don't strangle ourselves. Because the biggest thing that I see with all of my clients when they're nervous is that we hold the breath. The second that we get nervous, we hold the tummy. Then when the tummy is tight, then the throat muscles get tight. And then guess what? We've got no blood and no oxygen, not only to not power our voice, but nothing to the brain either. So everything goes out the window because we're not breathing correctly. So here's a quick little fix for that. I did a 3-day course on this in my first master's degree. So it does take a little time to really learn deep dive, but here's the quick fix scenario of it. If you sit up nice and straight, this is the very first thing for all of us to do. If we sit
Everybody
or
do it
stand,
if you're listening.
Yes, so we've got our ears over our shoulders. And when we have our 6 points of balance and alignment, well, in the chair, I'm only ears over the shoulders, shoulders over the thorax cavity over the hips, legs at right angles. My feet are firmly on the ground. Now I'm in that position where I can actually stand up using my legs and my core, because I'm not slumping and squishing my body in together. So when you're in that position, you'll notice even that ears over your shoulders, you feel much more powerful, because now I have my legs on the ground. I can actually feel my feet ready to pounce, right?
I feel like more oxygen is going to my brain right now. Like the way that I
Absolutely.
usually teach, because this is the place where I teach from, I'm always leaning in, I'm always leaning forward, I'm always crossing my legs, I'm always, whatever. And I can feel so much more energy and power. I actually feel cooler just sitting up
absolutely.
like this.
That's exactly right.
That's
So now we're
crazy.
in that state of readiness, which is really great, which makes us feel more confident in itself because of the posture that we're calling up to get ourselves into state, which is very important.
Superpower. It's like the superhero pose, right? Just standing like a superhero is going to make you have more dopamine and have that energy. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Love it.
But the second thing is, once you've actually got that settled, you'll find that your tummy muscle can relax now, and you can start to breathe more effortlessly, which is great. And then we can do some very quick warm-up exercises. Now, the warm-up exercises I would highly recommend, very, very quick. Oh, first, let me just do an aside. If you're still feeling nervous when you're in this position, you've done your mindset exercise, you've done your alignment exercise. Now I want you to wriggle your toes. Just wriggle your toes and put all of your focus on your toes, and take a nice deep belly breath without moving your shoulders. And then on the out breath, while you're wriggling your toes, you never stop. You're going to just hum. And change the pitch. Wriggle your toes, deep breath. One more, deep breath. When you feel the wriggling of the toes, the breath coming in, and then the sound coming to the front of the face and vibrating in here in the lips and the mask area, it feels very connected to the breath. It feels very relaxing.
I can't even believe I'm going to start using that to fall asleep at night. Like that is just like, seriously, like that just felt like I just totally settled into myself. It almost felt like a meditation in a weird way.
Yeah, because you're activating your non-fight or flight response. You're activating your rest and digest response. So we're changing the way that our nervous system is working by putting these things into place. There's some really great videos around this exactly on my YouTube channel, and they're called the vagus nerve reset. And it's not I'm going to Vegas for the weekend to have a party. It's
Oh,
not
I
that sort
wish
of
you
Vegas.
were. That's where I am. Come visit me in
I
Vegas.
know. I know. No,
Please.
it's the difference, the innovation, the nervous system, the hugest nerve in the body that innovates the entire nervous system. And when we learn how to tone the vagus nerve very quickly with breath and humming specifically, you'll feel very calm within 60 seconds. No joke. So
Oh
that
my
takes care of
goodness.
that part. Now the voice, of course, you still must warm up. So you can hum
Yeah.
for 2-3 minutes. That would be a great exercise. And then one of the really easiest things to do is, of course, make sure that you're moving your voice. Otherwise you get stuck in the same place. You don't want to go, that'll drive people crazy. You don't want to use monotone. So to get out of monotone, you move your voice.
Siren. Like the siren, right? Isn't
all sirens up and
I
down.
Yes, I think I remember you doing that too.
Yeah, so anything to move the voice, it will train us to learn that we have a lot more than just 1 or 2 notes. We
Right.
need to show much more range in our speaking, because otherwise people will get bored and they'll switch off. So do the sirens, move the pitch, move the voice, warm up the lips with the humming, and then follow it up with a few tongue twisters. Now I've got more stuff on my YouTube channel to show you lots of warm-ups. I've got 2 quick warm-ups plus all the tongue twisters on there, which is a great way to start. But the one that I love, that I know that you know, Erin, is my mother makes me mash my M&Ms on a Monday morning. My mother makes me mash my M&Ms on a Monday morning. My mother makes me mash my M&Ms on a Monday morning. And if you just move up the scale, I know it feels like singing, but just don't imagine it as singing. Just bring the sound, the airflow to the front of the face, and focus on the vibration that you're creating for yourself, driven by the tummy muscle. And it'll warm up all of that beautiful speaking range that we have right in the middle.
Love it. Oh my gosh, what a jewel. Bringing it back to my Julie. But yeah, that is so valuable. I mean, if people
Cool.
actually used those before they went up to do anything,
Yeah.
I can imagine how silly they might sound in the bathroom, but they still, it would be pretty amazing. That is awesome. I love it. I love it. So I just wanted to add a little quick thing. So I just finished recording my second Audible book, and it was on ACX. I just finished it. It's a romance novel, and it's really sweet story. It's just a really endearing story. But so one of the things I noticed is that from one time recording to another time, I would sound different. And it was bugging me because my voice sounded different in the morning than it did in the
Yeah.
evening. And if I was recording in the morning, my voice just sounded different than it did if I was recording in the evening. And so
Yeah.
one of the things I always had to do, and this is so silly, I had to brush my teeth before I started recording every time. And if I brushed my teeth right before I recorded, my voice would be more like consistent. It was the weirdest thing, but I could, because you're recording, a chapter here and then a couple chapters here. And then,
Yeah.
you have sometimes days in between, and trying to keep that consistency, because you know that whoever's listening is going to be listening to it straight through. They're not necessarily going to be stopping and starting when you stop and start the recording. So,
Yeah.
brushing my teeth was one that would help me to not have that clicking in my voice. And then also just to somehow match a certain pitch. I guess I just sound different after I brush my teeth.
Yeah,
So,
I don't know. I've never heard of that. That's really interesting. I'm wondering if it's more a setup, preparation mindset issue. Because
yeah.
when you're brushing your teeth, you've had a long day, it's the end of the day, your voice is warmed up, you're more settled into your body, and you're ready to do something else. Whereas in the morning, we're a little bit more discombobulated. Whether we slept or didn't sleep very well will have an impact on the voice, of course, and the voice box is lower. So when the voice box is lower and tired and not warmed up, we don't sound the same. It's much better to have that consistency if you're going to do something like that, to record at the same time, at the same day, on each day, so you can get that warm up feeling throughout the entire day and then jump on the mic, or do it in the morning and do the other way around. But I would highly recommend that you drink at least a liter or a half a liter of water 2 hours before you go on and record. Absolutely. 2 hours.
Mm-hmm.
Because people don't realize that they think that, a sip of water is going to hydrate them instantaneously. It doesn't. It takes up to 2 hours to filter through the entire system.
Yeah.
And so maybe it's just a routine thing for you. It sort of relaxes you more, moves your articulators more. There might be some logical explanation. I don't know. Sorry.
Well, that's
Great if it
awesome.
works.
I wish I would have had this warm up stuff right at front of my mind before I recorded every time. Because I
Yeah.
think if I would have went through that process with the mindset and the voice and the posture and the wiggling the toes and the humming and the sirens and the tongue twisters, I feel like if I would have gone through that process every time, it would have made it so much more consistent.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm hoping
I
it was
agree.
consistent because, I did go back and re-record quite a few things. I was like, that just sounded funny. My voice sounded different that day, So, but
Yeah.
anyway, the first book, this is just a funny little side note. The first book that I recorded it's about a Jewish, a Holocaust resistor, this brilliant woman who was a Holocaust resistor, and it was her story. And I voiced that one. But the thing was, is I was living in the RV at the time, and the only time I could record was from about midnight until about 4 a.m.
Oh, wow.
And that was the only time I could record because it's the only time that my environment was quiet enough. And some days when it was cold, I would have to turn off the heater and then record and then go turn the heater on while I was editing just to warm up,
Oh,
and then go turn the heater
wow.
back on. And then anytime somebody would roll in the back of the RV, it would make the RV go like this and it would make a sound, and I would have to go back and re-record that part. There were so many little things. So it was so nice to be able to record in my closet this time.
Wow.
That's my
Yeah.
recording studio, is my little, my closet,
Well,
my
it works
walk-in
great.
closet. It's
Yeah.
fabulous. It's fabulous. So.
Yeah.
Anyway, well, moving right along because we are running out of time here. One of the questions, and I've got this membership platform that is brand new. It's been my baby for months and months and months. I've been thinking about it and just pondering it and trying to figure out how we can solve the problem of people being stuck in feeling like they can't do certain things. And one of the things that has really been very prominently on my mind is how we grow through challenges. Now, I'm not talking about your challenges of your dog dying or that's so sad. I don't want to talk about that. But but challenges of that, a divorce or whatever, not those types of
Yeah.
challenges. I'm talking about the challenges that you put on yourself, the ones that
Right.
you push yourself to do, whether it's doing a 5K run or
Yeah.
doing, or 10K, whatever, doing putting yourself in a speech club like Toastmasters,
Yeah.
which I just got elected to be the president of my Toastmasters club. I'm kind of like, oh my gosh, what am I doing? But yeah, this
Good on
is
you.
the second time I'm going to be the president, but once in Florida, now in Nevada. So one of the things that I wanted to ask you and get your input on is how do we push ourselves or motivate ourselves to get out of our comfort zone? Because the thing with Articulatable is
Yeah.
that there's weekly challenges. You have to post a video of yourself every week. And if you are really active on the site and you're really doing it, you're going to grow. You're going to get better every
Yeah.
time. It's that idea of that crappy first draft. I'm not going to say the bad word, but that crappy first draft. It's getting out there and putting stuff out there, because then you can grow from it. And if you don't, you won't grow. So what are your thoughts on all of that? I just threw a million questions at you, but
Yeah.
what are your thoughts on getting motivated or pushing yourself out of your comfort zone?
Yeah, I love this question because most people will talk a lot about motivation. I used to talk about motivation a lot because I always had a lot of motivation. However, the last couple of years, I've changed my mind.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that instead of the word motivation, we should be talking about the why we're doing something and then the promise that you make to yourself. Because here's the thing. Am I motivated to go to the gym? I just went to Europe, as you know, and I put on 5 kilograms since I went to.
Congratulations.
Oh, I know, it's so much yummy stuff there. It was unbelievable.
I did it and
Now,
I wasn't in Europe, so I don't have the excuse.
so I don't fit into anything right now. So my motivation, you would say, would be very good to lose weight. But really, is it enough to get me to the gym? Not really, because it's cold and dark at 6 a.m. here. We now lose
That's right. It's
light at
winter
5
in
o'clock.
Australia.
So it's dark and cold again at 5 o'clock
Yeah.
in the afternoon. I don't really have the motivation to drag myself to the gym, right? But here's what I do have. It's like I have 7 pairs of jeans, Erin, that don't fit me. I really want to get back to those pair of jeans, because here's my rule. I will never allow myself to go up a size. I have rules and regulations around my life. Now,
So you're
I
going to
will
be
never.
very uncomfortable in those pants if you have to wear them.
Oh, yeah. I can't even sit. I can't even sit in those.
That's motivation right there.
It's so bad. Well, no, I made a promise to myself. My promise to myself was that I will never, ever buy a bigger pair of jeans. I just won't. It's against my rules because I care about my body, my health, and my livelihood, or my longevity rather, more than I care about anything else. So it's not that I have to be motivated to go to the gym. It's like I've made a promise to myself. I will go to the gym and I will do this diet for the next 3 weeks, and I will watch myself and watch the scale go backwards again and be able to clip my jeans up. So I would rather people say, instead of saying, oh, I'm not motivated like you are, well, it's just an excuse. I can't. When I hear somebody saying, I can't do that, I ask them, and they hate this question, I ask them to replace the word can't with the word won't and tell me how it makes you feel. So let's practice that. Erin, I can't go to the gym at 6 a.m. I don't have the time. I'm whatever. Hang on a second. I won't go to the gym, Erin, at 6 o'clock because of blah, blah, blah. Now it makes me sound like an idiot.
Exactly.
I won't go to the gym at 6 a.m. It's too cold. It's like, I can't go to the gym. It's too cold. Well, hang on. We're in charge of our lives here. Do you want to make the changes, or do you want to make excuses?
Exactly. And it's I love that. So I won't instead of I can't. So start substituting it out, everybody. You have to start substituting that every time you hear yourself say I won't. I won't instead of I can't. I love that.
Erin, I used to make excuses not to get on stages because I was so scared. I was so insecure and so scared. And I thought that I would just mess it up every single time. So I would say things like, oh, I could never do that. I can't do that. I'm too XYZ, fill in the blank. But now I don't. I say, well, look, I can do that. I've got to make my mind up to do that. And I've got to make a promise to myself that this is important for my growth. And if I do this thing, I'm going to grow. I might feel uncomfortable for a while, but I will make my box bigger. And the bigger that we make our box, the more we can keep expanding that box. We don't want to put ourselves into this saying, I can only do this in my life because I'm shy, insecure, terrible speaker, fill in the blank.
Right.
It's up to you to make the box bigger.
And so many people feel like they can't, that they don't have the control. And I think the won't, it all of a sudden puts the control back onto you. You have the control you're making the choice. And it just reinforces the fact that you really do have the choice. You're making the choice to do that.
Yeah. It empowers you.
You're always choosing. Yeah. One of my other favorite books that I just finished reading recently was called Essentialism. And it was all about if you make a choice to say yes to something, it's all about like people like me who say yes to everything. And saying yes to one thing is saying no to a lot of other things. So you have to be more choosy about the things you say yes to and the things that you do, because otherwise you're going to be spread too thin and you're not going to be able to give your best to anything. So I thought that was amazing. It's Essentialism, and I have it right here actually. It's under my it's under here. Essentialism by Greg McKeown. It's a great book. Oh my gosh, it's so good. So good. Anyway, okay, so we are crazy out of time, but oh my gosh, this was so awesome. I loved it. So we talked about a lot of things. We got to meet the enthusiastic and amazing Miss Juli Kintzler and hear about her motivation and choice to push herself to be successful. She has julesofflorida.net if you are in the South Florida area. She's amazing. I'm sure she'll probably travel if you really need her to. So, she's great like that. And she's got plenty of time on her hands now, right? I love it. Let me unmute you. Hang on just a second because I can't hear you. I'm going to unmute you so I can hear you. I know you're talking. Sorry. There we go. You're back on.
Oh, hello.
Hi.
Yes, I have plenty of time.
Love
All
it.
my time is left for learning. I am just absorbing so much and having so much fun time in my life. And
Love it.
Elisa, I loved your information. Thank you so much.
You're very
It's
welcome.
wonderful.
It was my pleasure.
I love it. I love it. So thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Elisa. Thank you, Julie. Thank you. So recap. We got so much out of this. This was amazing. Elisa's always just full of gems of knowledge and information. And I really love that warm up that she talked about. I think that, the process of being able to get yourself in the right mindset before you do anything, being able to sit down and get your posture right. Just the posture alone just changed things. I just went back into it and I feel so much more like comfortable. It's
Yeah,
weird.
I felt it.
Yeah, you did too? It was crazy.
I
Crazy,
did
crazy.
too. Yeah. I
It's
wish I did
amazing.
that in the beginning.
Right? Me too. Me too.
Yes, we're going to have to re-record that.
Yeah, we're going to wiggle our toes and we're going to hum. We're going to do our sirens. We're going to do our
That's
tongue
right.
twisters. And me personally, I have to brush my teeth. So thank you so
Okay.
much, Julie. I appreciate you being here. I'm so excited that you are here. And if you have a suggestion for something that you want us to address, or we're looking for some more guests to be on our podcast to talk about communication and how communication can make the world a better place. Articulatable is my attempt at helping the world become better communicators because globally we stink. We stink with communication. We're so divided. We're so polarized and uh, unable to talk and communicate and connect. And I really think that that's the secret to a lot of the problems that we're having in the world today. So again, come check out articulatable.com. You can see us on Facebook. We have an articulatable.com Facebook page that is free to join with words of the day having to do with the theme. We have the membership, which you can get to on articulatable.com. And yeah, I'm so excited. Hope to see you on a competition soon. And Julie, I'm waiting for your competition. You better get it up there. You only have like 6 more days.
I've got a bunch. I'm going to release any day now.
Awesome. I can't wait. I can't wait.
Okay.
Awesome. Well, thank you
I
so much.
promise.
And I look forward to seeing your videos on Articulatable. Have a great day. Thanks
Thank
again for
you.
joining us.
Thanks for having me. Bye
Bye.
bye.
Thanks. Bye.